Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tuesday night, so that means it's time for Arkansas Motorsports Magazine's Tuesday Night Tune-Up. And tonight we're in Centerville, Arkansas, at the Centerville Dragway with our guest Wayne Stiles tonight, and our co-host Heath Tate. I'm Bill Gilkey, and before we get underway, we'll run through our sponsors real quick. We want to thank Chambers Bank with 28 locations throughout Arkansas. True Grit Auction Company right here in Dardale, Arkansas. They've got a live auction coming up this weekend. Check that out. They're Arkansas's #1 online auctioneer. So if you've got an auction or looking for an auction to go to, check out True Grit Auctions. We also want to thank Shaw Race Cars up in Batesville, Arkansas for everything that they do for Arkansas Motorsports Magazine. And we want to thank the Arkansas Department of Health Vaccinate Arkansas program. And our featured sponsor of the night will be Weston Petroleum in Plummerville, Arkansas. So with that, we'll kick it over to Heath Tate and for the latest in breaking racing news, brought to you by Weston Petroleum.
Oh, yes. We had, was it last week that we were in Plummerville visiting, or week before last, I guess, in Plummerville visiting with the boys from the Mod Light bunch. And a bunch of them went up to Boone this week.
Well, no, we were in Mapleville.
That's it.
You're just,
I'm just a little off there. But Jeremy Wilson, he's done well up there. He's finished fifth or sixth up there in Boone. And
up there at the Super Nationals.
The Super Nationals, yeah.
Several guys from Arkansas.
Several guys from Arkansas up there.
IMCA.
Yeah, IMCA.
Yeah, several up there running. And I'm sure that, there's a bunch more going up there to run the modifieds and stock cars. So,
anything on the weather for the racing this weekend? I know you always like to make a weather prediction.
I like to talk about the weather because it seems like, Wayne can say that, the weather's been bad this year. It seems like every weekend it wants to rain.
Every time we try to have a Sunday race, it seems like it's going to rain once during the day.
But I do want to mention our T-shirts that we've got for sale. I don't think we've ever mentioned that since the first time we've ever done.
We're going to have to get with our production manager and our sales associate, Aaron Gilkey, to get that information out there about the Arkansas Motorsports Magazine T-shirts.
Maybe we mentioned it one time, but we do have some shirts, folks, if y'all want any of them.
I'll take one.
Okay.
And I do want to mention myself and Bill, we helped do a festival in Danville, Arkansas. September 18th, we're going to have a lot of hot rods out there. Got a car show. Anybody wants to bring your car, y'all come out and visit. Bring your hot rod out there.
Hey, and then after the show, they can come over to Centerville for the drag race.
Yeah, got a big drag race over here. Jackson Junker's going to be running that night over here at Centerville on the 18th. But we got a big car show. Got lots of stuff for the kids, games for kids, rides, everything else for kids. We do this. We raise money for scholarships for the schools in Yale County here, and we do it on that. There was an officer. We had an officer that got killed that worked with me and Bill, and we do this for kind of honor him, the scholarship program, and it's just a way to give back to the community in the area.
And I'd like to mention on the rides and the games, it's a $5 armband.
Yeah, $5 armband.
They get to play from 10 to 3
all day
on the rides for $5 and the games and win prizes.
Yeah.
And there's magicians, there's stilt walkers, there's jugglers, fortune tellers. We've got all kinds
of stuff going on. So anybody wants to see anything to do on September 18th, y'all come out and help support that deal.
And if you wasn't coming to Centerville Drag Strip that night, and we encourage you to, even though we got a program going on, we've got Rawhide going to play at 5 o'clock, the Crawfords at 6, Aaron Owens from down at South Arkansas is going to play a little after 7, and Arkansas's very own Corey Jackson is going to headline the event just shortly after 8 o'clock.
After that, yeah. So y'all come out and support. It's a great cause. Like I say, it's a give back to the community. So,
well, with that, we'll get right into tonight's program, and we're up here in the tower. here at Centerville, overlooking the landscape here, and Wayne and
It's where the tough work goes
Yeah.
on at up here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I understand. You know?
Yeah.
So,
And,
brain work.
Yeah, the brain work.
Wayne and Patty have done a fantastic job. They've done another remodel out here.
Yes.
And Patty's sitting just off camera out here, but we've got Wayne here with us tonight, and it's beautiful. Everything that y'all have done out here, and I'll let you get into a little bit and tell people what's going on out here for the past month or so.
well, actually, it started early in the year. We kind of remodeled the tower. You know, we put in some new floors and had the Chapman cabinet, marbling cabinet. Yeah, they helped us out with that deal, made it look really nice up here. Then Jim Metcalf with Stage Masters, yes. Jim kind of rejuvenated our PA system. We bought a bunch of extra equipment and added a high-powered FM
Radio
transmitter, so that no matter where you're at on the place, if you've got an FM receiver, you can listen to the PA. You know, it's just a great deal. I mean, those were two early improvements that we made that had been needing to be done for a long time. Of course, then starting in August, we started in on the new return road. We repaved the return road, redid the staging lanes, the back part of the pit area, put in over 2,000 ton of asphalt.
And that's what I was going to
major
say,
deal.
the return road, you know, and you can tell, I mean, there's lots of work went on around here. Lots of stuff that y'all done.
back road back here,
Yes.
staging lane.
Yeah,
We
it was.
repainted, pavement marking was here doing that along with Charlotte.
Yeah.
It's just phenomenal, you know, what y'all have done here over the past several years. You know, this last project, you know, really complements the project you done a few years ago on the racetrack out here. So, you know, hats off to y'all, you know, for doing this and doing this for drag racing, especially right here in Central Arkansas.
We love the sport, you know, and we want to support it, and I mean, we want it to grow, and you know, I mean, it's what we do. You know? So,
You know, you get into, you know, we're into September here, and a lot of people think that, you know, racing season's kind of winding down, but in all actuality, you know, here at Centerville Dragway, y'all got some big stuff coming up. It's really just getting underway.
This is the
for
best
2021.
this is the
Big
best
stuff.
part of the year, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got all kinds of stuff coming up in September. We've got
This weekend. I'll start out with that.
yeah,
Outlaw
that's
Small
right.
Tire.
This weekend it will be the first Outlaw Small Tire Index Mean Street race we've had since July. Because of the construction, we weren't able to open up. So we're going to have a big show Saturday night. There'll be some really good racing and lots of good cars and stuff here. So, you know, we're really looking forward to that. First one in a couple of months, you know.
Yes.
We've got that coming up. Then we've got the Old Timers Drag Race Vintage Reunion
And
coming up.
It's on the first.
we were here last year for that, and that was
That is a fantastic
fantastic deal. I mean,
Yeah,
we
that's
had fun. We had fun here last year.
day.
Some of those
I
guys.
encourage everybody
We got a funny car coming this year.
that loves the sport of drag racing to come out and talk to Bear Brantley and Dwight Cox and
Ray.
and Ray Sullins and all those guys that come in that day, because you know you can sit around and talk to them for hours and learn so much about the sport.
Yes.
It was one of the, I've been around racing all my life, and it was one of the funnest days that I've had in a long time.
Yep.
Race wise, and the racing is very
Racing,
good.
yeah.
Racing is very
And
good.
getting to
that
see
day, too.
some of those guys that still get out there and
Yeah.
you know.
You know, like Jack Mullins, he was going rounds out here.
Jack
You
is
know.
an awesome racer.
Yeah, he is.
He is an awesome
And his age to still be, you know, getting down in the finals. You know, just a fantastic person all the way around.
Yeah.
You know, but getting to meet those guys that you read about as a kid growing up, you know, it was was in all the the hot rod magazines and stuff. I mean, that's that's just it's a big deal, and I hope the younger folks in the sport understand how important what those guys did, and how important things like the Arkansas Drag Racing Hall of Fame is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, can you elaborate a little bit on that, Wayne? About
Well, I mean, it's something, of course, it was Bear's idea originally, and he wanted to capture some of the history that these guys had been a part of, before they started going away, and he, put together a committee. They choose people that, well, you can nominate people, and there's a bunch of nominees every year, and then the committee picks them, and decides who's going to be inducted that year into the Hall of Fame. And it's amazing the history that people from Arkansas have had in the sport of drag racing, and he really highlights that and shows.
He does a good job.
He does a great job.
He does.
Showing
He does,
how
yeah.
important that is to the sport.
And they have
And
a
you-
website too.
And you can look back, as you said it, that right here at Centerville, Arkansas, there has been so many guys that have come out here and run that people don't realize. I mean, we sit here and we get to go to talking to some of these guys out on the road, like me and Bill get to travel around and visit with different people. But there's lots of guys that drag race that traveled all over the United States from Arkansas, from right around here close, that a lot of people just don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's quite a few. I mean, and like Bill said, there were some of these that we looked at when we were kids. The magazines, the old drag racing magazines, stuff like that. What was it? It was the '68, the Camaro
yeah.
that Ray Sullins was.
I
And didn't really realize that was he was the one driving that car until we got to talking to him.
I read about Ray Sullins all my life growing up in different hot rod magazines and stuff. I had no idea he was from Arkansas.
No,
And then when you find out that somebody like Ray Sullins is from Arkansas, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
but and those guys are usually here
For that race.
for that race that night.
Definitely.
They're all here and they're walking around visiting, talking to folks. So I mean that's a big thing.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's my favorite race of the year.
And there's
And y'all have a funny car book to come in that week. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, Bruce Grooms, his dad was a funny car racer back in the early days, and they've still got a car. It's like a '73 style Mustang, of course, Hemi deal. I mean, it's a nitro car, and they're going to make a couple of passes for us.
So, well, that'll be
It'll be
very-
loud.
Yeah, it'll be loud, and entertaining, and last year you had that pro stock association come in, and I want to say this about Wayne and Patty, when they book a show like this to come in, it's a show. I mean, and you people out there watching tonight, if you don't have anything going on the weekend of that race, come out and watch that race and the funny car. Especially if you've never seen a funny car of any type, you will be glad that you came to Centerville Dragway that evening when you go home, because it will be a show.
We had a girl earlier today testing for that vintage drag plane.
Yeah, with a front engine, a
Penny.
blown small block front engine dragster. They're out of Pea Ridge, I think. Really nice people.
Really nice.
And a good running car. I mean, they were
Blower.
they were trying to
Blower mower.
shake the bugs out of it. Ran some low fives, but they're just kind of getting used to it, and they're going to be here for that.
And the other thing about most of the racing that goes on that day is you see a lot of the older style.
right.
Now correct me. There's a year model cutoff on some of those races.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about
We've
that?
got one class that's 78 and older vehicles. Has to be a foot brake deal. You can't use trans brakes or any of the modern racing aids like delay boxes and stuff like that. So anyway, we've got that class, and it doesn't matter how old the driver is in that class, just as long as the vehicle is that age or older. And then we have a couple of other
Old timers
classes.
bracket.
We have an old timers bracket for street cars, and the drivers have to be 55 and older.
I'll be able to enter next year.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we've got several classes for older guys.
And the
you know.
geezer eliminator is 55 and older, pro no E car.
Yeah, it can be like a drag car.
Mm-hmm.
One of the classes for the old guys is street cars, and the other one is it can be a drag car as long as it's a no E style.
And then it's the last points race for the stick shift guys for their jacket.
That's
oh
right.
yeah,
That's
and
right.
That is going to be.
that's another exciting deal, especially that goes along with that is the stick shift class. That is always some exciting racing
It
going
is.
on.
That's
And,
awesome.
and let's talk a little bit about that. That seems to be a class that's kind of growing in popularity
Yeah.
The stick-
with racers and fans, and talk a little bit about the stick shift class, if you would, Wayne.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we had really good car counts at several of those stick races this year.
You got Larry Tark, you got Collett.
Yeah,
Mr.
of course,
Lively.
Larry comes down from the other side of Springfield, Missouri, and he never misses a race. Lots of really good cars. Artie Green has built a car
Yep.
that he's been running. Of course, like I say, Kenneth Collett has been a staple of the stick shift racing here for years. And, well, in the whole state. I mean, he's been doing it forever. Lots of really good cars, and there's people building new stuff for the class, and we're even having some younger guys with their late model Mustangs and Camaros and stuff come in and run the class just because they want to run with cars similar to theirs with a stick.
Right.
So
Right.
it's a cool deal.
And I think that class there, I think it's exciting for the sport of drag racing. I mean, regardless of what type of racing that you're doing out there, we need different things to come along at different times to energize the sport. And that seems to be really one of them. And Jeff Henry's Edsel.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that is one of the
That's
most
one
unique race cars.
Cool car.
That
He
is
he
Yeah.
calls
very
it
cool.
cute. He's bringing something else on that night, vintage night. He said, "I've got some cute cars."
Well, that'll be exciting just to
Yeah.
see what he shows up
Yeah,
with.
I think
It's a
isn't it a fuel altered?
fuel altar.
He's got a vintage fuel altered that he's going to bring.
He is bringing. He's
He's
had
gonna-
since 1968.
So that will be interesting.
And that's the other thing, and you touched on this a little bit on this vintage racing. You also get the old, they drag a lot of the old front engine dragsters and altereds out, and those are exciting and fun to watch. It's just, I mean, that drag racers old timer event. It's an event.
It is.
I mean, it is an actual racing event that everybody needs to come out and watch here in a couple of weeks.
It's going to be a good show.
Going to be
September the 25th.
September the 25th. It'll be the week after the Monster Festival.
Right. And this weekend you got small tire.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Small
I
tire.
mean,
Big tire.
we're looking at some 430s, 4.4s.
Every bit of it.
It's going to be
Yeah,
awesome.
it's going to be good. The weather's going to cool off a little bit. The track conditions will be good. It's gonna be-
Outlaws. We're doing that at 8:00. Here's all the trophies for this weekend.
Yeah.
As a slow guy said, "Give me a class."
Yeah, give us slow guys a class. Yeah.
But that's
Heck
that's a fun time going there and watching them.
Yeah. They put on a show.
They put on a show.
Yeah.
Michael Browning.
Yeah.
They like him too.
Yeah.
What else you got coming up this year?
Well,
Mopar.
yeah. We had to reschedule the Mopar race.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the date on that, Patty? That's the first weekend.
October the 9th and 10th.
Okay, October 9th and 10th. That's right. It'll be a Saturday. We'll have some streetcar Mopar classes on Saturday night, and our regular test and tune
And then the
Then-
bike classes along with them.
on the same day.
Yep, on the same night.
Motorcycles.
Because we couldn't find a place for them, so they said Mopars and bikes.
Yeah, we had so many rainouts there for a while. We're kind of getting our schedule it's kind of getting cramped.
They say motorcycles and Mopars. I said, okay, M&M, let's go.
Yeah, but we've got that going on. Then on Sunday it'll be the car show and the Mopar class along with regular bracket racing. So
Mhm.
just like the Mopar event always is. So
And then the street legal state championship.
street legal state
That's what I'm saying.
championship.
And that's what weekend?
The 16th
16th.
16th.
of October.
16th of October.
Yeah, mark your calendars all the way around.
And that's a fascinating show in itself.
That is.
You can come stay all day and a good part of the night and see some excellent heads-up drag racing, as good an event as you'll see anywhere.
Yes.
Y'all do a fantastic job with that. And like I say, you do a fantastic job with every race that y'all put on out here. So,
Appreciate
what
that.
talk a little bit, and I know it's already been discussed a lot, but since we were here last, you've added the IHRA sanction here to the Dragway. Talk a little bit about that and the decisions behind that.
Well, the biggest deal was we had some of the guys that wanted to go to a bracket final race, and we weren't, us not being a part of any organization or anything, we really didn't have anything to offer them that way. So, we decided we'd do the IHRA.
Well, the World Finals mainly, because it's very attractive.
Well, yeah,
The money they can win, all of our points winners in each class, if they're an IHRA member, they're gonna go to the World Finals in Memphis.
right. We can send one person from each class.
10,000 to win.
It's an amazing payout. Yeah, like I say, 10,000 to win.
Trip to
You get a trip to Aruba. You get a golf cart. You get a world championship ring.
Yeah, so we're rooting for our guys.
So
Sure.
that one guy from our Super Pro Street, even junior class,
Even
can
you-
go to that and have a chance to win
Right.
a really prestigious event.
And the other thing, it's 3.5-4 hours away,
Right.
so
Yeah.
it's right here in the backyard.
Right. And we're sending a team to the bracket finals. We got 30-something signed up
Yeah.
already,
Yeah.
and that's what date is that, Patty? That
October the 2nd, weekend of October the 2nd, but that's the True Grit, when
Yeah,
John
we're-
Wayne's nephew's gonna be here.
track's still going to be open. We're going to be here, but we are sending a team of bracket racers
Me and Wayne got
to-
work.
to that race. So
Yeah.
And Patty said something new to y'all got to work.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I mean,
a lot of people out there may think that on Saturday evening at 3 or 4 o'clock, or Sunday morning at 9 o'clock, the gate just opens and everything happens.
a little more to it.
We'll talk a little bit about, if you don't care, what it's like, not only on race day, but days leading up to race day, all the work that goes on just to be able to put a race day on here.
Well,
well,
this time of the year, mowing grass is a main event. I mean, you mow every day nearly. Of course, there's always track prep to do. We built us a track scraper that made that job a lot easier, but we still have to scrape rubber every week. So
And that's what I was going to ask you about, getting it, how as far as everybody out there, what it consists of prepping the track. I mean, what you have to go through every week to do that.
well, first, of course, after a race day, usually we know about what we're going to have to do, but we'll look everything over, decide how much scraping we need to do, and and there's always some. You're never going to get away without doing some scraping. So anyway, we have to do that. Then later in the week we start prepping back. We start dragging with the tractor, spend hours on the tractor putting rubber back, and making it smooth and nice. It's just a never ending, it's something that goes on every week. Even when we're late in the year, when we're only doing those little testing teams, we still have to do it, because if you don't do it, the track's not good.
Yeah,
And
have to
if
do
the track's not good, nobody wants to come. So,
Right.
there's just a whole lot of work to it. What else are we?
replacing light bulbs, we just talked about that. I mean,
yeah, she's got me a
it's just
list.
maintenance out the union. Yeah, I got you a list.
Yeah.
Going to Sam, getting supplies, doing the points, doing the website. It's a lot of behind the scenes. I mean,
Like I said, you just don't open the gate on
Sure.
Saturday evening and Sunday morning and it happened.
Right.
It's a,
ordering trophies, make sure
it's
everybody
a-
got all that in place.
and no, Tate, you can't leave with one of the trophies
I know, I know.
tonight.
Sharp.
But about on track prep, of course, we do a lot of dirt track shows, and the weather and the rain affects track preparation on the dirt.
Yeah.
Does it affect some of your decision making if you get a rain shower on a Saturday morning? Does it affect how you're going to prep this track after say you get a rain shower at 10 o'clock in the morning? Does it have any bearing on how you're going to prep?
Sometimes, sometimes like 10 o'clock in the morning is almost too late to do anything about it. Sometimes you just have to just work around what you've got right there. But
and the reason I asked it is a lot of people think, well, it's concrete, asphalt, like the highway, so it dries off. But the weather has a bearing on track preparation, drag racing as well.
What happens is water gets between the rubber layer and the concrete, and it'll start. When you come in and spray on top of that, the sticky stuff that we use, the rubber will stick to the tires on the car better than it does to the concrete because there's a moisture layer in there. So that's something you have to deal with sometimes. And luckily we've got this ride-on scraping machine, and we can get out there and kind of repair some of that, before that happens. But still, like I was just noticing the other day, getting ready for this week's track prep, we had rain, and then we ran on it. And what happens, it starts pulling the rubber off. So now, because of that, we're going to have to go nearly to the end of the 8th mile and scrape all the way back to get it prepared for this weekend. So it just, weather creates a lot of work.
And something else for the racer, on the dirt ovals, you always see drivers out there between races looking at what the track's doing, and it's no different here.
Right.
You've got drivers. I mean, they're paying attention as the day or the night goes along what the track's doing. So drag racers have to read the track just like oval track racers do on dirt.
Right. Like on a testing team night, if we have a lot of street cars that have street tread, they generally wipe the rubber off of our starting line. No matter what we do, it's nearly impossible to keep a nice layer of sticky rubber on the track when there's a lot of street cars. So we have to deal with that. We'll stop and drag and prep and try to make it better. And sometimes we get it pretty good most of the time.
It comes around.
But not always. Sometimes it's just you have track conditions that people have to deal with.
On our race for this weekend, we just say drag radials, and people are like, why can't we run our cars? I'm like, because you're tearing up the track.
Yes, and the faster cars need that good surface, not only for speed but for safety.
Yes.
Right.
But a lot of people out there would just naturally assume, well, it's an asphalt or concrete, and there's nothing, the weather or anything is not going to affect that, but it does.
Yeah.
It's
You're
just
exactly right.
it's just a science, behind the sport.
Yeah.
And talking about the small tire class, and those cars keep going faster and faster on the small tire. And let's talk about that a little bit. The suspension and setups, is that what's making those cars go faster these days?
I think
the technology.
I'm not a real knowledgeable person about how they do it, but I think most of it, in my opinion, is power management. I mean, they've all got really good suspension on the cars. Some of them have stock type suspension, but it's not really stock. It just kind of appears that way. But the deal is they've got the power management through the computers. That they can control boost, timing, the whole situation going down the track. And I think that's how they get them to run so well.
When you talk about Jamie Scott and Mark Daniels and Ray Parsons, Ray's been working on his combinations.
Yeah, super fast car.
Oh my Lord.
If he could ever get that last detail worked out, these guys ain't gonna be able to run with him. But
Now here's an interesting question. You started drag racing in what year? And we're not going to try to give away your age here.
Well, I mean, the first time I took a car that I owned was 77 or 8.
Would you have ever thought in 77 or 78 that you'd see people tuning engines and transmissions and chassis with a computer?
Absolutely.
Would you have ever thought that?
Absolutely not.
Is it not amazing when you go through the pits here and see all that going on between rounds where the sports come?
It is amazing.
Come to?
I'll never forget whenever in the early '80s, the delay boxes came along, and I had a friend he was a real computer guru kind of a guy, and I had a typical delay box in my Camaro that like everyone was using at the time. Well, he thought it'd be funny if we put a keyboard in the car. So he puts a keyboard in the car, runs the cord up under the dash, and between rounds he's over there doing this, and people are looking at him like, what's he doing, It was just a joke, and we were just playing, but, it
It's
was...
not a joke anymore.
It's not anymore. Now it's real.
And now if you don't have a computer, you feel like you're left out.
Yeah.
Well, some of these guys are really fancy. That Randy Westmoreland with Leisha Electronics, he's got all that. You see all that.
And that's what's funny. A lot of people, they sit there and they look at that and they see that on TV where the guys got the computers and they're dialing their cars. But you can come over here on Saturday and Sunday at Centerville Dragway and walk down the road and see the same thing.
Yeah.
They've got their computers hooked up to their cars and they're dialing them in and they're and as Bill said a while ago, they're looking at the track. They know that okay, if I'm in the right lane that I've got to I can't hammer down on it as much as I can, and it's the same thing. They're all looking to kind of where they need to be at.
It's
And
amazing.
To tune on their car, just what they're doing.
it's just amazing that this day and time how things have changed since you was talking about in '78 or where
It's really become a race day of science and computer education out here. Is really what it's turned into.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's good to see that those classes are evolving like they are. Of course, the downside of that, I would guess, is it probably does add some expense to that style of racing.
That style of racing's so expensive.
It doesn't matter.
I don't know that it would really. But talking about all this stuff, we still have bracket racing.
Yes.
Exactly, and I wanted to get into that. So.
Yes.
We still have street class that's basic.
Where anybody can drive.
You can drive to work to the track and race and have a good chance to win, just like anyone else. Still have the no E class where you're not allowed to use trans brakes or any of the fancy stuff, and basically you're just allowed an MSD and a foot pedal and a hand shift. Of course, Super Pro's a little more involved, but Super Pro's still basically the way it has been for a long time. I thank goodness for bracket racing. That's what I love about it.
And that's what I love about it too. Like you said, the guy can come out here and bring his car that he, bought to drive back and forth to work, and his souped up whatever it is, he's got that he drives to work, and still come over here and race and have a big time,
Right.
and have a chance to win every time he comes over here if he can dial his car in right to how fast he thinks he's going to go.
We have a kid in the street who won the first half. The kids make fun of him and call him Toaster because his car looks like a toaster. What is it?
It's one of those Toyota XBs.
Yeah, it's
looks like
cute.
a toaster going.
Yeah,
It's a
all
little
cute
square
little
box
toaster.
thing. But man, he can kick their. It's Vance Stormberg's boy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He kicks their tail regularly.
Right. And that's what's neat about that, and probably, really, that's probably your biggest class that you've got over here, is it?
Oh no, well, Pro is.
I mean, Pro probably, yeah. But I meant I'm talking about for those guys that are starting off.
19
Yeah.
or 20, we have.
Yeah.
That are starting off. They're just, they're grabbing a street car and come over here and run it before they jump into anything else but yours.
And there's a lot of guys. We've got several older guys that just run street. They wouldn't even think about moving up. They just like that style of racing, and they don't have to worry about the car. Just run it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not a high maintenance thing. So.
Vinnie Baker, Jimmy Brooks back here.
Mm-hmm.
They're all older.
And it's a tough class. It's a tough class. And I pay attention to the results, and like I said, I see guys like Gary Harrison.
Yeah.
Those guys. And I'll tell you, you come over here to Central, and I'm not trying to run anybody off that's thinking about getting in the sport, but But one thing about it is coming over here and running the street bracket class, you're going to be up against some excellent competition, and you're going to learn how to race from some
They've been
very good
doing it.
That's
people.
exactly
Yeah.
right.
You're going to learn how to race from some very good people.
Yeah.
And the neat thing about it is, from the time that, you know, it was last year about this time we started, you know, actually the first time I'd ever went out there and made some passes. And the thing about it is you can go do that, but all these guys out here, you can ask questions and every one of them's going to help you.
Oh yeah.
They're going to say, hey, this is what you need to do this or do that or whatever. I mean, it's just kind of like it's just, you know.
They're good people.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
good. We call them our family. We just love them all.
Yeah.
It's and I'm going to make this our Shaw race cars question of the week, and it may be a tough question, but you've obviously been around the sport a long time. You've seen different things come and go, and this is just something looking at the future. What do you see as the next big thing in drag racing, Wayne?
Man, that is a tough question.
It's a tough question,
Yeah,
but
I mean things.
like I said, we've had bracket racing and heads up racing, index racing is and the 4-speed class
went to the
is coming
imports.
along. In the imports. What do you see on the horizon? Maybe in the next 4 or 5 years, it may be something that comes along that catches everybody's eye. And that's tough. I know.
Hopefully not electric.
That's what I was fixing to say. Is it the electric car? I mean, you see some of them that are 1,000 horsepower. They say.
We have had some make passes here. I couldn't believe how fast they were.
Uh-huh.
I mean, they're really
Oh, that's
fast.
right. Who was it that showed up? And somebody's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, we've had a couple of what do you call them?
That was on Saturday night.
What are those things? Teslas.
The Teslas.
Yeah, that were amazingly fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it could be something like that. It seems like the brackets have grown back some.
And that's good.
Yeah, and so I mean, I like I say, since that's where I came from. I mean, that's what I paid a lot of attention to. But it evolves so fast, and I mean, all it takes is for a new car to come out that everyone might be interested in, and all of a sudden you've got 5 or 6 of them, and hey, let's have a class for these guys, and before you know it, you've got something else going on, that you didn't have before. So
And it's amazing. And I know y'all see all the time, but it's amazing right now at some of the cars that you can go by and just how quick they really are out here on the drag strip. That you don't do nothing. It's just something that you bought off the lot.
And they
do a little bit of bit of stuff to it.
The
And
helmet.
yeah.
And that brings up another question that I was going to ask. What with the automakers have really with the type of vehicles that they've produced over the last 20 years, there hadn't been that many rear-wheel drive vehicles that was produced, in my opinion, that you could really adapt, to race cars, kind of like in the days of old, where everything out there you could pretty well convert. Mm-hmm. But what do you see with that? How is the Detroit automakers? How is that with what they're producing? What kind of effect is that having on our sport?
I mean, you can still buy a fast Mustang, Camaro, Charger, Challenger. There's some imports out there still that are really fast. I mean, you can still buy those kind of cars, but they keep talking about on the news. By 2035, we're going to be all electric.
I don't believe it.
All this stuff. I mean, that could change the whole appearance of what we do. Matter of fact, it's made me start thinking about how am I going to put in charging stations for electric cars. I mean, is that going to be something that's coming up? Who knows? Yeah.
But no, that is an interesting thing, especially with like I said, seeing the electric cars show up and go down the track. So that's obviously something that we've got to pay attention to in the future, because it could have those electric vehicles will certainly at some point in time have an impact on local racing.
Yeah, I think they will
Even
eventually.
circle track, you think?
I don't know.
know,
It's not gonna.
It's going to happen here before it does
Yeah.
there. But even NASCAR's talked about the electric rigs, on circle tracks and stuff. So
I'm going to be retired from the sport.
I figure they can run them until the batteries go down.
Yeah. Speaking of electric racing, you left out the Power Wheels race for the kids at the festival.
Yeah, the Power Wheels. Yeah,
we
we'll have
got that
electric,
going on that day,
race
so
in.
it's our own version of electric racing,
Yeah.
I guess.
That's gonna be adorable.
Yeah.
But talk a little bit about when y'all purchased this from Wendell Frame, who was the originator of the Centerville drag strip here, and he recently passed away, and he was a friend to everybody in racing.
Mm-hmm.
But talk a little bit about how that come about, that you and Patty uprooted from Fort Smith and made your way down here.
Well, we moved to Fort Smith around 1980 to get into the tool business, and of course I had my Camaro at the time, and we were coming down here and racing, quite a bit. Matter of fact, all the way 10 or 12 years we raced here primarily. Occasionally we'd go off somewhere else, but usually it was Centerville.
This was our home track.
Yeah. Of course.
The girls were just babies.
Yeah. I had won a race there at the end of the year in 1992, I think, and was up here in the tower getting paid, and Wendell was tired and had a long, hot day, and he was talking about how he wished someone would buy the track. I'm like, dang, never thought about buying the racetrack. So we started talking about it and started talking to him about it, and ended up, we got it done. By the next year, we were the owners of the place. So,
And that was in what year?
93 was when we took over, January 93.
And right off the bat, there was maintenance. We had to repave, just a nightmare.
I think we had lightning damage to the timing system right off the bat.
Damaged our timing system.
It was just like we just couldn't get a break, and it rained a bunch.
Yeah. We're like, okay, what have we done? What the heck have we done?
But you pressed on and
We prayed a lot.
Prayed a lot, and then we're sitting here today in 2021, and look at what you built here.
We're proud of our facility. I guarantee you, it's one of the, it's just a small track, it's just a country track, but it's pretty nice. It's a pretty nice.
But I will say this: I've had the opportunity to travel several states to different racing venues, and this is just when you compare this to larger ones, this is to me the atmosphere and the facility you got here ranks right up there with the big ones, and I think a lot of that goes to the heart and soul that y'all put into your racing program. I don't think, I'm sure there's probably programs out there that are equal to yours, but I don't think there's anybody out there that really does it any better.
Thank you so
So
much.
I appreciate that. We try hard.
We're just trying.
And the whole family try hard.
And you do, and it's also, you talk about family
And
here.
that's what I was going to say. It's a family deal. You got, y'all.
Sonny and Eric and
You got
That's our
your
face.
daughters sit here and they work and help out, and
Mm-hmm.
and I don't, I'm not going to say Eric. No, I'm just joking. I know Eric helps out a lot with you and does a lot of stuff. So I mean, it's a family deal. And January 1, your mother will be 90-year-old, and she still sits out here and helps out every
She's
week.
Going strong. She's going strong.
And
it's
so
amazing. And she goes, I'm here for a reason, but I don't know why. I'm like, you're here to help us. Mom.
yeah, so she's here every weekend working and helping, and I mean it's a
she's
family
adorable.
deal.
Yeah, and then we're getting to see our granddaughter Reese to run juniors.
Right? Yeah. We got to look at her hot rod up there.
Yeah.
A while back we got to see that, and
And she's doing really good. She's really doing good. She's going to go to the IHRA team finals.
okay, great.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, and that was kind of a deal because that car was redone and fixed up, and that was
We
actually
rented it. to
That
other
was our
kids.
track.
That was
rental
y'all's,
car.
yeah, that was y'all's car from back years, you know,
I
that
don't
y'all.
know how many kids' butts has been in that car. We couldn't even think about how
Right.
many people we have rented that
It-
for $50. You could come and rent that deal.
It would be fantastic if you had a list.
Yeah,
that
well,
would be
To,
cool.
to
Yeah.
look
To see.
at
I
who
don't
all.
even know how to.
But I mean, that car that she's running now has been with y'all for a long time.
Can't tell it by looking at it though. They really,
That's,
really,
they
did a
really
nice
made it,
job.
really made it nice. Yes.
Yeah. Showtime Graphics did the graphics on it and everything, and we surprised her, or they did, for Christmas. It was a
Christmas.
Christmas present.
Yeah, she didn't know it was
bawled and
coming.
bawled. Is this mine? You know, it was adorable. It was just, no, it's not yours. It's Cora's. And that Cora's gonna be a hoot too when she starts driving.
Yeah.
And Kit. Oh, they're just adorable.
With everything that you've done here, and I know the racing promoter's mind never stops. What do you foresee or hope to do in the future to build on what you've already got here?
I don't know. We're so tired from all this work we've been doing.
We can't think.
I do know one thing that I want. I mean, I want a new set of digital scoreboards.
Mhm.
But you know, I don't know when
Just,
don't know when we'll get them. But someday we're going to have a new set of digital scoreboards, and I think that'll really enhance the look of the place. You know.
And then the Stage Masters, he's talked about digital, making ads down underneath the scoreboards, coming to that. We've got the TV down there that tells, our sponsors and what we've got going on, the flyer. He's really helped us out a bunch to promote while they're here, in case they didn't get a flyer, Just stuff.
And one of the things that goes with the landscape here that I really think complements the racetrack here is all the trees
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that set back off in the pit area and everything.
We had to get rid of one.
Yeah, we lost the one.
Did y'all see that?
The one that was in the staging line.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah, we were considering trying to save it, but we got to looking at it close, and it was starting to rot in the center. And I knew what was going to happen if we left it there and tried to pave around it. Then something would happen to it. We'd end up tearing the asphalt up trying to get it out of there, so we just got rid of it.
So if somebody wants to get into drag racing, and let's just go from the bracket standpoint, what do you suggest for somebody out there that's watching that says, hey, I may want to go over to Centerville and try that?
Well, just about any kind of rig will work. I mean, your old pickup, your new pickup. You buy you an old Honda Accord. I mean, there's just the possibilities are endless for a beginner. It doesn't have to be fast. It just needs to be something that you can depend on and you can learn how to make consistent.
And that's what I was fixing to say. Can you explain to those folks out there that might not understand what bracket racing is, as far as how I go about what the rules or how this is done?
Okay, bracket racing is a form of drag racing where you use a handicap start to equalize the race. If you have a slow car, you're racing a fast car, the slow car gets a spot or a head start based on the difference in their times. They race to the finish line, the first one there without breaking out, or if in case of a double breakout, the one that breaks out the least, which it's starting to get technical, but it's the kind of racing where just about anyone has a chance to win.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we've seen girls come in here that didn't have a clue, and in a few races they've picked up reactions, and they're learning how to race the top end. I mean, and they're as good as anyone here.
Candy Escorn was one of them in her minivan when she first started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just it doesn't take anything special to get started in this sport.
And it's kind of one of those things, y'all have Saturday nights for test and tune for some of those folks at certain times. They can come over here. They can make passes down the track and realize that, okay, my truck or my car run this fast every time, or pretty close to it. And then basically they come back on Sunday and they get in a bracket race and they say, okay, I'm going to run a 12-2 or whatever the case may be in their street car or whatever they're doing, and they may be running against somebody over here that says I'm going to run a 10.
Right.
But and what it is they get that 2-second head start,
Right.
and then
Exactly.
we get down there to the end, and
Should be a dead even race at the end. You know, so.
is how that all works.
Well, now that you've got this down, we look forward to seeing you out here this Sunday.
Yes.
Yay.
There you go.
You know, I've tried it a few times out here, and I enjoy it. So.
That's hilarious.
But no, it is a very, very fun sport. You know, and I think the thing that intrigues me the most about it is not only are you getting to race against other people, a lot of times you're racing yourself. You're trying to make yourself better.
Right.
You know, you're racing yourself a lot of the times.
Really, that's what it comes down to. And as guys get into it more and figure out what's going on, they realize that it's a game of who makes the least amount of mistakes. You know, if you can run closer to your dial and cut a little better light than the other guy, you're going to win. You know, and it's just whoever, like I say, makes the fewer amount of mistakes, they're going to be the winner.
And there's no caution flags to regroup and go again. You've got to be on your game the entire length of the raceway out there. But it's really you know, one of the fun things about the sport, like I said, it's racing against yourself, is making yourself better, and like you said, learning how to race on the front end, learning how to race in the middle of the track, and then learning how to race down on the other end.
Absolutely.
There's a science to it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a special science to it, and hats off to all those men and women that are very good at it.
And then there's a lot of them that are good at it, and I didn't realize, you know, I'd heard these, you know, until I got to coming over here and watching and enjoying. But you know, I thought it was okay. I get out here, I take off, and I go my 1,000 feet, and that's it. But no, like you said, your race, you know, you don't realize what these guys are doing and girls are doing until you come over here and watch, because, you know, they're so sharp at this that they know that I hit a great light, I'm going a lot faster, and it ain't just I put it to the floor and I go to the end. It's I'm got to the end and I know that I'm going way too fast, that I'm smart enough, these folks are smart enough to know to let out of the throttle, get back in the throttle, let out of the throttle, to be able to hit that mark.
Right.
To be, I mean, it's a science to it, like Bill said, to come over here and do that.
And it's not just a sport that takes place on Saturday night and Sundays. You will spend the entire week replaying in your mind what you've done wrong, what you can do better.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you're really looking at it, it's something to consume your spare time. Get involved with bracket racing. It's a fun sport, but a lot of the fun is also away from the track. Is sitting there at home, replaying your mind, and then coming back next week and trying to make those mental adjustments to get better out there. I mean, it's a true sport. It's got so many facets that it's just unreal.
Right. But you know, we said something about testing tune earlier. That is one area where some people, that's all they want to do.
Right.
They want to come over on Saturday night,
It makes
make as many passes as they can, or just race their buddies. Or, you know, I mean, they're not interested in the bracket
Just
deal.
having fun.
They just want to have fun, race each other, and that is a big part of our customer base.
They
You
love
know,
it.
are the test and tune guys.
They race their buddies. They just, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, and the other thing I want to say is, and I appreciate, and I know Heath does too, is it gives our local youth a place to come on Saturday nights, especially on Saturday nights, in a safe environment. If they want to, you know, do some drag racing, it doesn't cost that much to come out here on Saturday night.
$120.
And it, you know, not only, you know, for a safe environment, you know, up and down the track, but you know, to come out here and see all the kids congregating and meeting and talking and being in a safe environment out here. You know, that's worth a ton to us in our jobs, and our hats are off to y'all for providing that, you know, on Saturday night. those type of things shouldn't go unmentioned. So, we appreciate that as well.
We've always been about, drive safe on the streets, race at the track.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be.
And so, as what else would you like to add? We've got about 5 minutes left, Wayne. I know we've covered a million things, but we'll probably leave here tonight, and there'll be a million more things we wish we'd have talked about.
Never fails. Yeah, but I don't know, Patty. What can you think of anything?
We do a all-run bracket. We started doing that, and it's very popular. Cindy Covey and them love that on Saturday nights, just for trophies.
Yeah.
We started doing that with
It's no extra charge.
No
just
extra
pay your
charge.
test and tune fee, and you come in and run that bracket for free.
Some people
basically.
will just throw in some money, 100
Yeah.
to win or whatever. Just whatever, they just do it.
Yeah.
So.
But y'all are doing that on a weekly.
Yes.
That's all run
We've been
bracket.
doing that
Good.
for quite a while now.
And the other thing with that, like I said, that's a prime opportunity there. Get some bracket race experience for Sunday.
For some of those.
So Heath,
Yeah.
There you go.
For me.
Come on out
You got your
Saturday.
obligations for Saturday and
Yeah.
Sunday.
Because we got the outlaws.
yeah, you can't come Saturday,
No, okay.
but you've got this figured out. I can dovetail. I think
Yep.
you're a shoe-in to win on Sunday.
There you go.
What about, like I said, we're gonna wrap up this year, but what do y'all kind of see happening? I know it's probably too early to tell, but what are some of the things on your mind for 2022 race-wise? Anything just stands out right now that?
No, probably basically keep doing what we're doing. Kind of hard to mess with if it's not.
Well, that's what I was
broken.
going to say. Your platform.
I think we're the only track that does 2 halves for brackets. 2 halves. We split it. We don't do 1 year and keep it. I know some of the other tracks do all year.
Although we did add an IHRA points
Exactly. We did do
race
that.
season, basically through the middle of the year,
Mhm.
to pick our world champion.
And leading in the
Contestant.
points is Kurt Cunningham in Super Pro and Tyler Green in Noe.
Those guys will be tough. They'll
And
be
Hannah
good
Cossey in
representatives
Junior.
Yeah.
for the track at the world finals.
Mhm. So,
It'd
yes.
be awesome to see one of those guys win
Oh
there.
my goodness, it would be really, that's what we're looking forward to. One of our guys saying, "We did it."
Exactly.
Yeah,
You know,
that would put us on the map.
and that's great bragging rights.
Mhm.
So, well, all right. We'll get ready here to wind down tonight's show, and like I said, it's always fun when we get to come over here and hang out with you guys on Tuesday night and sit down and talk like we had tonight. And
Well, thank you very much
Uh,
for letting us be a part of the program.
well, we appreciate it.
And like you said, everything that you're doing, you're always adding and taking care of, the concrete track, and then now all the return road. I mean, it's not that you're just out here. What I wanted to say is you're not just out here having people come in. You're giving back because
We're trying to make it the best.
Make
we
it the
can.
best place for somebody to come out here and enjoy and have fun.
Trying to.
Well, you're doing an outstanding job, and like I said, like I said, we were talking before the show. It's just fantastic that we have a facility like this just right here in Yell County, Arkansas. So, thank y'all for what y'all do, not only for the sport of drag racing, but for what y'all do for Yell County. The economic impact that y'all show, that y'all put on out here week in, week out, has a tremendous economic impact for the businesses in Yell County, and we appreciate that. So, and keep up the good work, and if there's ever anything we can do for y'all, just holler. Like I said, it's always fun to get up to come out here and hang out with you guys. We wish we could come more. So, well, anyway, that'll just about wrap up this week's Tuesday night tune-up. Heath, are you going to let the cat out of the bag?
I'm not going to.
You're not going to. They're driving me crazy. Now, sometimes, folks, he doesn't let me know where we're going until late Sunday afternoon. And, but Anyway, we want to run through our sponsors again. We want to thank Chambers Bank with 28 locations throughout Arkansas. Banking's never been easier with Chambers Bank. We want to thank Shaw Race Cars up in Batesville, Arkansas, builders of some of the world's finest and nicest modifieds anywhere. We want to thank Skyway Buick GMC up in Joplin, Missouri. Heath,
yes, I am.
If you buy a car or a truck from Skyway this week here in Arkansas, Heath will come out and he will help deliver the keys with the Skyway group. So we want to thank all those fine folks up in Joplin. We also want to thank True Grit Auctions from just over here in Dardanelle. They've got a live auction this weekend. They are Arkansas's #1 online auction company, but they're going to do a live auction this weekend. Go to their Facebook page, check that out. Also, we want to thank the Petit Jean River Monster Festival for helping sponsor this weekend. And of course, Centerville Dragway right here for being here and letting us be here tonight. Weston Petroleum in Plummerville, Arkansas. Straight Line Transmissions up in Greenbrier. Philpott's Complete Car Care over in Greenwood, Arkansas. Blankenship's Pit Stop over in Danville. And like I said, Eddie Hoyer down at 4Place Speed and Muffler Shop. Ecky Harrison over at Ecky's DCR Parts and Accessories in North Little Rock. And also got to give a shout out to our other drag racing counterpart, Jackie Lewis, down at Prescott Raceway. So I'm Bill Gilkey for Heath Tate.
One more.
Wait, what?
Andrews Motorsports and Vaccinate Arkansas.
Vaccinate Arkansas, yes,
So
our new
gotta
sponsors.
give a shout out to them.
Got to give a shout out to them. And like I said, I want to thank our producer back there tonight, Aaron Gilkey, for helping put the show on. Our director tonight, Patty Stiles, who joined us. So, but it's been fun. So for Heath Tate and Wayne Stiles, I'm Bill Gilkey, and we'll see you back next week from somewhere here in Arkansas, and we'll be talking racing.